Hi, so this is my personal everyday carry knife, my personal IFS-20, the one that I use every day. So I'm gonna demo how to assemble it from all the individual 18 pieces shown here into a complete knife without any tools. So let me start with the some of the components of the sub chassis, the top half of it where it assembles into the knife. So let me start. This is the first piece that we should start with. So this is the pivot brace, the one that clamps into the pivot and locks everything together. So this is the one. So I need to take this particular pin. This is a unique one. This is actually the stop pin with a very special shape. So the one I have here is full of scratches. I use it a lot. I take it apart, wash it and all. So anyway, here goes. Just need to put it. Yep, just like that. Just go through and turn it. So that's the first part. Then I need to take this side, this particular part, right? This one. Just pull it through. Simple as that. This thing still can turn here, but now is where we take the back spacer. Alright, the back spacer. It's this unique opening here, shown here, that goes into that. So everything slides together very smoothly, there's no force. Right, so that's how it goes. Still move freely, so just hold it together as is, including this part. It would come off, but just make sure it's all together. Right, so now we have like 1, 2, 3 and 4 parts. So now we have 4 parts gonna interlock together. So now I take this particular one. Okay, there's a bit of mark here. It's all due to the pocket clip. Okay, the pocket clip rubbing on that, so there's a bit of mark over here as well. So I think that's normal. So this is the part we need next. Okay, right. This part, we need to take it. Okay, I need to zoom it in close. So it goes from 90 degrees. So it must goes from like 90 degrees. So you see that. Let me get it to zoom. Right, there you go. So from 90 degrees, just press it in. So let me demo a few times. So, yep, here it goes. So just be careful. Yeah, and then you just turn it. So when it turns, it locks into place, but everything is still freely moving. So just be careful a bit not to scratch everything too much. There's a bit of wear and tear marks here, I think, just through use and everything rubbing together. So that's pretty normal. So, yep, this is how it is. So the hard part is now we need to take this part, okay, put it through in between. So we need to put in between the few, see, in between these two, okay, slide it together so it goes like that. Okay, and this thing, as long as it's not pinched together, it won't go in. As long as it's apart, then it will go in. Okay, that's how it is. So we almost have the whole top piece complete, but we don't have the bushing yet. So this is another careful part. We push it out just enough for that piece, that hole, to be accessible. See, just enough for that hole. So we can take this bushing and put into that hole. So while these two is still apart, left and right. So now we can push it in. Now the top chassis, the sub chassis is complete. Okay, but it can always come loose. So what I do usually to protect it is usually taking this pin. This is the pocket clip and also the safety pin. So how it works is that, see this piece, it takes a bit of spring. So I press it down you can see the hole align. So put it through. So if I press it enough, I can go through. So I press it enough, then I can put it through. Simple as that, but it takes a bit of skills. Usually I use my finger and my thumb to press it, then I can take it out. So when it's done right, there's no force to pull it out, but it takes a bit of skills to know when it'll come out. So yeah, so this is the part. Let me demo again. I'm doing this through camera, so it's a bit difficult. So as long as you press it through, it aligns. Then this is not aligned. So as long as it's aligned, okay, it goes in without pressure. So it goes in all the way. It locks in the middle. So anyway, this is the part how I deliver it to you. So it comes like this because it won't come apart. That's the safety pin and it's preloaded. So this is the part that first you have to take out, just like that. So you have to press it, and it's very important later. Okay, later you have to, when you assemble the whole thing, the whole knife together, right, you have to press this in order to lock everything using this pin. So we'll leave that for the much later. So I'll just take this out. So and just like that, the sub chassis is complete. So I just put it aside. Just put it there. So with that, now we have the blade, two main chassis parts, and this lock insert, and it's a complex piece here. So and a few components. So this is how it's done. Then the next step after the subframe is complete, the sub chassis. It's taking this part. This is the lock insert. It's a complex piece. It's a bit, how to say, it takes a bit of effort to learn how to put this together. From what I've known, a few guys who try to put these together, my friends, they don't really understand how it works. So here's how it works. So it's, you need to slide this into that hole. Remember everything, there's no friction, there's no force, everything is easy. You just press the lock bar away. So you can just slide it in. Simple as that. Looks simple, but it takes some skill. So there you go. There might be a bit of free play, but it's designed into it like this because as soon as we can see here, let's say there's a bit of gap. See a bit of gap over here. The moment the lock bar is pressed, see there's no gap. So let's say there's a bit of gap. Okay. Let me get it focused. So you just press, and this angle here, when you press in, it will move the lock bar in, and that's how it works. So if there's a bit of movement, this is normal. It's design, it's part of the design. It's very hard to make this part stay in. So under use, it won't come loose, it won't fall apart and everything. So I just wanted this part, I can take it apart easily. So that took a lot of efforts in the design part. So this is it, and that's the D10. So this is the next stage. This is how I deliver everything as is. So the two washers and everything, and I'm going to start with with the loop as well, since I washed this all clean. So you probably have this part attached as I deliver it. So all you have to do is just take this part. This is the pivot pin. Okay, let me show it to you. Yep, there will be a bit wear and tear as it slides, so that's normal. It wears with the tank, just like this part around the pivot where the washer wears in. So the first part to do it is just, I think this is easy, just put it in. It will slide off easily. So that's the first part. I hope I'm doing this clear enough. So, and then this first is the small washer. So put it in as well. So there you go. And I apply a bit of lube in between the pivot. So just go all around. So just a bit of, there you go, just a bit of it. But I don't apply the loop okay, it will just come off. So make sure you just hold it in just like that, okay, when you handle it, so everything is loose at this point. So this is how I usually loop my blade. I just put the loop onto the groove, and it's very simple. See, there you go. There's one, there's two, there's three, and so on. That's this one side, then there's another side. There you go. So now I have loop on this side and this side. Okay, there's a bit of things that you need to notice on the wear pattern. So this is the detent track, so it's normal, and this too is normal. That's where the detent emits against this part, right? So when it stops, it touches. So there's a bit of wear here, but it's not visible later. We can see in the final assembly. So that's part of the design. That's where it wears. So it's pretty normal. So the next thing is, before we put everything together, so I got loop on this side and this side, and on the pivot, the next thing I have to do is I have to put a bit of loop on the detent face, just here. Let me show you. Okay. So there you go, on the detent face. That's how it works. So next, hope it's clear. So I just put this on. Just let it rest onto the detent lock, the lock interface. So always press everything together so it doesn't fall apart during assembly. So this is what we have so far, with the loop and everything in the pivot. Just to make sure I'm pretty clear with this. So here, and now the washer is stuck there because of the loop. That means it's loop good, like this. That's how the pivot should look. So you just have to hold everything together so the pivot doesn't fall out. And now the bigger washer, I just put it on and give it a few turns. Just unlock it. Just make sure everything is tight. Just lube it a bit, just enough like that. All while holding the pivot. If you don't hold it, it will come off, and that's not very good. So just hold it together, and now it's good. Very easy, just hold it. I can even put it aside first. So that's what we have so far. The next thing to do is just taking this piece. This is a very small piece. See, this piece. This is a special piece. This is a spacer for the back, and it's also a stopper for the spring right here. So later we'll see. So just put it on here at the very end of it, right? It will be a stopper to this piece later. It does a lot of function, every single piece of it. So now we have this display chassis. So the next thing to do is make sure we hold this knife properly, not letting the pivot pin or the washer come off. So you have a finger to hold it, okay? And this piece, just make sure everything is good. Now you just need to place it on the top down. So just make sure this side is matched and this side is matched. Just let it fall in. If it's crooked like this, sometimes it wouldn't want to go in. See this part, it wouldn't want to go in. All you have to do is make sure both sides, this is in and this is not. It's very hard, so you need to take it up a bit so it goes in together. So now that's easy. Now when you have it together, I just make sure I pinch it together. So see, I hope it's clear here, right? So I just pinch it together in here, but mostly I just hold two pivot side. I just hold left and right, and hold everything together. And this part, just need to take another piece. This is the chassis lock. So just see, put here and pull it to the back. Okay, I'm gonna do a close-up. Okay. Right. And now we have the pin that will hold and prevent the rear from coming apart. So that's the function of it. So now we almost have it done. It's so close. So now we have to hold this part, and then you make sure this part is going downwards, because we don't want to have this happen, because see, it will move down. So what we want is to make sure this is always like that. So we put it downwards, that's down. So we hold it a bit like that. What I have to do next is, it's very critical, the way we hold it. Later we have to hold it in between this chassis, the main chassis bits. You have to hold it together so the top can go in, because if you don't hold the top, okay, this might come apart and it's very hard to go in. So now we take the sub chassis, and now is the tricky part, because you got to be very precise in putting it together. So the first thing is, you see there's 1, 2, there's 2 holes. You just need to make sure that 2 aligns with these 2. So you just put it together. See, seems simple, but just slide in. So that's the thing we want. But sliding it in, sometimes we forget this part and this part right here. Sometimes you need to make sure it comes here and goes in. So see, let me do it for a full view, just like that. So you need to make sure it goes in all the way, and this part as well. And then make sure this pin is pushed all the way down. That's why we do it in this direction. So we press in halfway, but we don't press it all the way in. You've got to be very careful not to tweak it like that. So make sure it's the same line both. But when we have it halfway, okay, just very careful. When this part is almost locking the pivot, that's what we want, almost locking. Just have to be very careful. You have to unlock it. You have to unlock a bit so it doesn't rub the stop pin against the blade. So unlock a bit, and that is when you push everything together. So it doesn't take a lot of effort. Okay, now it's smooth. See, but you can't really pull it out because the hook of the blade kind of prevents it from coming out. So it's not supposed to be. So always lock it. You always lock it. Unlock it, I mean. You always unlock the blade halfway. Okay, I hold it like this. Then I press the side. Then only I can push it aside. So it's very smooth. Just one finger. So always leave it like this. I just press it in. But always press the side. Here's the trick. It's very hard to take the knife apart, because you see, if I take it apart, if I don't pinch it, let's have a look at this part here. See, if I don't pinch it, it comes apart. So it's not very good. We have to press it in together, because it's too wide. The sub chassis can't clamp into it. So we need to press it together. So my trick is, I open it halfway. Okay, just make sure the alignment is right. This part is outside, and this part here, it covers. Okay, and just very carefully just wiggle and get it halfway, unlock the blade, then just push it in. What you want to do when you push it in is to ensure there's no gap. See, there's a bit of gap, so just make sure everything is pushed down the same direction as this pivot, so all the way in. So once you have it in, you're almost done. Just close it. See, just make sure everything is good. So it works well at this point, but it might come apart because of this. But never pull it apart while the blade is inside, because it might hit the pin there. So we pull it out halfway out a bit, then only I just take it apart. Now I don't take it apart all the way because it will just snap. So I just hold this part. So when I take it out, okay, when I take it out, this part doesn't just snap open. So just hold it. and this part. This is the reason, this is pin, is the reason why I don't keep this close. It would ding the edge. So I just make sure I'm halfway close. So I can do this very quickly, but not everyone can do it because this is my knife, my design, so it's a bit technical. That's what I would say. So anyway, we're almost done. So this is almost done, and we can finally see this wear mark. Why is it there? It's because of this pocket clip. The last piece is very simple. We just put this on. See, just put this piece on to the thing, to the hole. So we press on this side. We just hold it together. If not, just fall apart. Okay, yeah, it's just, that's the example of why we have to hold it. So I hold it here, right? Just hold it together, and now this pin, the last safety pin, just push it on, okay? But it won't go in yet, so just push it on like that. Now it gets a bit tricky. There's a lot of ways to put this, but the point is we need to press this spring. This is the safety, the back spacer, preload spring and everything. So normally I just, see, let me show my hands. Most people have trouble here with this spring in whether disassembling or assembling this knife, and that's the trouble that most people have because I think they're not used to it. So you need to press. Let's see, let me show it up close. Okay, it takes a bit of pressure to press. So as long as you can press it all the way, okay, then it can go in, and that's the safety pin. So one trick is you make sure you pinch top half and bottom together to make sure all the holes are lined, because we have this pocket clip, 2 parts, the back spacer, another 2 parts. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We have 6 parts that will go through by a single pin. So the tolerance and the fitting, the holes must be aligned exactly. So we must press it together. So this is how I would do it. So I press it together, then I press the spring. Okay, once I have the spring pressed, then I just push it in. Now I push it in with a bit of, a bit left. Okay. By the way, this is my personal EDC. It's not perfectly straight. You see, it's not perfectly centered. And I also chip the tip of this blade, by the way, in use. I'm gonna chip it a bit, prying something. So anyway, so I purposely left a bit here so we can see how this thing works, how strong it is. You see the spring? The spring is half pressed in. So when I press it fully, that's the lock. That's the snap. I'm not sure if it can be heard here, but let me demo it again. So taking it apart is simple. So just simple but hard at the same time. But anyway, this part. Press the spring, put it apart. The pocket clip is the key. So again, push it on, put this part. There you go. Okay, hold the pocket clip and then somehow press this spring, then it will go in. There you go. It's very safe, it won't come apart. There we have it. There's a knife. So when it's done, it should just work pretty well, like what you guys have seen earlier. So I hope the assembly goes well, and well, I hope this guide is useful. I hope I didn't miss anything, and if there's anything, please let me know and ask me directly. I hope it gets assembled properly. Anyway, the most important thing to remember about the knife, the assembly and everything is that everything works smoothly. There's no force in assembling, even taking it apart and all. So that's the crucial thing you have to remember. So don't try to force everything together, because I worry that might damage the knife or something. So this is how I put it together, smoothly, softly, without much force, or no force at all, just like putting a screw inside a hole. So never force it. that's how I do it quickly. Anyway, hope you enjoy it. Enjoy the assembly, disassembly and everything. Thanks for watching.